Hi, I'm Jessica DeMassa here at the GuideWell Insights Lounge at Singularity University's Exponential Medicine. Joining me right now, I have Larry Smarr. Larry, welcome to the Insights Lounge. Thank you. For everybody watching, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and what you do.
So I'm a professor of computer science at the University of California, San Diego, and I direct a large institute called CalIT2 that is between San Diego and the University of California, Irvine.
Okay, so when we met, you also gave yourself a title as the most quantified man in the world. So what exactly does that mean?
Well, I have to say there are one or two others in that category, but it means that we're taking all kinds of samples over time, say 250 samples from my blood and stool, full human genome, sequencing the microbiome, and trying to understand how this dynamic system, the human being and its host microbiome, actually work.
So tell me a little bit about, I understand that you were ill and that you really took control of your own healthcare journey in a really unique way. So tell me a little bit about that story again.
Well, back in 2008, I began to realize as I took all of these measurements that one of my measurements was getting way out of normal range, 5, 10, 15 times in inflammation. And I said, really? I feel fine. Then I had a really acute pain and didn't know what that was about. A few years went by and my inflammation got back up to like 27, it should be less than 1. I had a stool inflammation variable 125 times the normal for healthy. I looked up in the scientific literature. The only way you can do that is if you have inflammatory bowel disease and autoimmune disease.
So you basically diagnosed yourself using these microbiome and genetic tests that you had been doing. And so what you found out you had this disease, and then what happened?
Well, so I tracked myself for a number of years, and in fact, I was able to also use imaging to find out that I had a portion about 8 inches of my colon, large intestine, that was diseased, and it was getting worse and worse. And finally, last year in 2016, I found out that it essentially had almost pinched off.
Oh, wow.
And so I decided time had come for a surgical resection of this. Fortunately, it was just when Exponential Medicine was here in 2016, and I met Catherine Moore, who is the vice president for Intuitive Surgical that makes the Da Vinci robots.
Okay.
And I actually got to see the robot on the show floor here. That I went up and I said, okay, I have to have that robot inside of me.
What? You're like, I'm doing this, whether you're on board or not. And now you're not a surgeon, because I asked you that when we spoke. You're not a doctor, but you've diagnosed yourself at this point. You've been, well, let's even back up. You've been monitoring your health data at the microbiomic level for years. Started doing that, diagnosed yourself, and then have now at XMed last year decided that you were going to perform robotic surgery on yourself on this part of your colon.
I was going to have the help of a surgeon.
Well, good. Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying.
But the thing is, by that time, I had been taking 150 MRI slices from front to back, converting that back into the 3D that it really is, putting it in a virtual reality room, and giving people tours through the inside of my body just to show that this is what we'll be able to do in the future of medicine.
Oh my gosh, and then I also understand that you took this a step further.
Well, I finally, when I decided last October we're going to do the surgery, I said to my surgeon, here's the problem. You don't know what's inside of me. I do, but I'm going to be on the operating table and under anesthesia and I won't be able to help you. So why don't you come over to my cave and get to know my insides? And she came over here, and I had this like 8-foot large intestine that I had, my guys had figured out. And then I said, and here's the part you're going to cut out.
Oh my gosh.
So like this is a 3D print of the diseased part, and you can see the diverticula, and you see this sort of this, this thing here, and this is no longer with me.
Well, so, you have it forever immortalized in 3D printing now.
And so we decided in the cave where to make the cut, which is about here and about here. Sure. And
that's incredible.
And so this enabled her to do a level of my surgeon, Sonia Ramamarthy, will be speaking today with Catherine and me about this experience that was pushed through by basically this conference.
I mean, Larry, your story is incredible, but I think one of the things that struck me about it earlier is really how, I mean, you've taken basically every single exponential technology and converge them together on yourself. And so you've now become like the ultimate empowered patient. So tell me what you've learned from that experience, because we talk about these big ideas here at XMed, but you've actually made yourself a case study.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What have you learned?
Well, first of all, you have to take responsibility for your own health. You know, there's over 8,000 hours in a year. How many of those are you with a doctor?
Maybe 15 minutes.
15 minutes out of 8,000 hours.
Right.
The rest is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting empowered with things like our smart watches and so forth. Now, I live in a university, I have tenure, that's so that I can do research on the future and report back. And that's what we're doing. So we know that with this exponential decrease in the cost, this can be totally routine. You know, I mean, look, my operation probably cost a couple $100,000. The ability to put this in 3D, the transparent Larry, which we did, into the operating room.
Transparent Larry.
Yeah. So,
I love it.
So they just plugged the laptop with my transparent self into the Da Vinci robot and then up on the big screen in the operating rooms. And they could give situational awareness to the whole team. Here we are, we're going in over the bladder, we're going to cut here, we're going to cut here. They'd never been able to see that before. But that's going to become totally routine. It costs maybe a few $100s for, you know, a gaming box that can do this in a surgery room that's doing $200,000 operations hour after hour.
And it seems like the quality of the outcomes are much better. You've said you're actually feeling like a new man.
The key thing is, I was at peace when I went onto the operating table because I knew exactly what was going to go on. I had used all of my skill to inform the surgeon to minimize the risk. That's what this is all about. And so as a patient and a surgeon working as a team with our virtual reality experts, we were able to actually reduce the risk. And then as a result, I'm a much better patient and I'm going to recover a lot better than if I'm totally stressed, you know, I'm going under the knife, I don't know what's going to happen,
right,
which is the normal way it works. So the ability to, for instance, for a patient to come in and hold the part that is driving their life crazy, and that's what's going to come out. You know, that's very empowering to a patient.
It is.
And it's very informative to the doctor.
What was the response from the clinicians that you worked with, the surgeons?
Well, you know, most surgeons would have, you know, pushed the little red button under the desk and send the straitjacket guys in after me. This Sonia Ramamurthy is an extraordinary surgeon. She's one of the leading robotic surgeons in the U.S. and she believes in the future. She believes in exponential medicine. That's why she's here to talk today.
Yeah.
Is that she gets it and she wants those things earlier in her operating room so she has a better outcome for her patients.
Larry, that's an incredible story. So I want to know, you know, after like kind of bringing us into the future of medicine and reporting back, are you optimistic about where we're headed?
Oh yes, I mean I think there are just, you know, so many, the humans and the robots together are so much more powerful than either by themselves. And so that plus the supercomputers, the vast amount of data that we're actually getting now on microbiome, all of that is coming together to really create a totally new kind of medicine.
Yeah.
One that's based on science, one that's enables all of the power of digital technologies and software to be applied to it. So yeah, it's going to be vastly better.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, it's seriously one of the most incredible patient journeys I have heard to date. Thank you so much, and also thank you for bringing us your 3D printed colon.
Lovely.
It was lovely to have you join us. I'm Jessica DeMassa from the GuideWell Insights Lounge. Thanks for joining us.